Portfolio.com.
With the power of Tandem HR, you are in the fast lane on Main Street with Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs. Now, the champion of networking, the advocate of jobs, the guru of business, your host, Shalom Klein.
Set your goals high and don't stop till you get there. That's what Bo Jackson once said. We are all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And business, we talk a lot about business here. You are on with Get Down to Business, and I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Remember, you can always download podcasts from Get Down to Business on my website at shalomklein.com. And while you are there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. It's going to be a jam-packed week of content and information that you won't want to miss. It's a live show. This week, we are talking about small business lending. And this week, we'll be joined by guests Steve Hall, Greg Steinberg, and Brandis Duggan, along with the new Playmakers Spotlight. And I will be sharing tips for protecting your business network. It's a live show. We want you to call in with your questions at 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. Get Down to Business is powered by Tandem HR, your solution center. You can find them at tandemhr.com or call 630-928-0510. And joined here in studio by the wonderful, fantastic, and innovative Steve Hall, the Vice President of Business Development of ACCION Chicago. Steve, welcome to the program.
Shalom, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I appreciate you coming out. One of the organizations that, as long as I've been in my entrepreneurial journey, I've been hearing about is yours, ACCION, and you guys are doing some fantastic work in helping create new small businesses. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your mission and what you do every day?
Excellent. Well, ACCION Chicago was founded over 20 years ago. Our goal is to help more people get into business, create opportunities for themselves, for their families, and for their communities. We've done this with companies who necessarily fall outside of the bank's credit box. You know, some people are startups and they're looking for financing. Some people may have credit due to, social issues that a bank wouldn't traditionally do. And we've been able to help those small business owners. So
you do small business lending, and you do that in coordination with the Small Business Administration?
We do SBA loans as well, up to $100,000 through a program called the Community Advantage. It helps us help more small businesses, give them greater access to capital. So
loans as small as what amount?
Small as $500.
Wow.
So we have some small business owners who may need $500 because they need to buy some quick inventory. Maybe they got a small restaurant and they just need a little help, and their credit is bad or their cash flow is really tight. We've been able to help a lot of people out with what we call a credit builder loan.
I'd love to spend one day in the life of Steve Hall. I imagine you must be talking to some pretty interesting businesses, some fascinating entrepreneurs, people that have a real story, and you must feel really good going to sleep at night knowing that you're making a difference in the economy.
Well, we do. I think we have a very diverse clientele. I mean, we meet with people who are been in the country for 2 weeks, and people whose family's been here for 200 plus years, and everybody has a different story of why they're become small business owners. But inevitably, all small business owners need help at some time.
So you mentioned stories. If you don't mind, Steve, tell us a story of one of the people that you've helped. Tell us one of the cool ones.
There's always, every story is interesting. So if anybody's listening that's an Axion customer and I don't use your story, I apologize. But there's this guy. He's on the South Side. He has a chicken sausage company, and fascinating product. It tastes really good. And this guy has done a couple of tastings at different functions where he caught the interest of the mayor. So the mayor goes, "Hey, did you give that guy a loan?" And I said, "We gave him a loan." He says, "Well, give that guy a bigger loan."
Wow. So you take mayoral influence.
No, we don't. But it's just it was really exciting for us that his product was being recognized in a way by attending one of our events and being kind of a food sponsor in that particular case, and just get the attention and recognition that he did. It's really helping his business take off, and that's something we're excited about. And
so I happen to be on Axion's email list, and I think just recently I saw a big blast about something in Aurora, and then I know you have an annual, George is listening, so I'm going to use the term Gala. I think you use you have a lot of interesting things going on. Tell us a little bit about the programming that Axion Chicago is doing.
So, we're a one office location competing against 300 plus banks in Chicago. And
You're small and mighty.
We're small and mighty. So a lot of times we have great partnerships with banks. They're our number one referral partner, and they do the best that they can to give us people who may fall outside of the bank's box. Traditionally, a lot of small business owners don't turn to banks all the time. They want you to meet them in their communities. So coming up on Tuesday, June the 16th, we have an event at Two Brothers Roadhouse. It's going to be a speed coaching opportunity where we have people from lawyers to insurance companies to banks give you a quick opportunity to spend, let's say, a 2-minute conversation with each of them. And at the end of the day, Axion is there also. So if you fall outside of the box or you need access to capital, it's not predominantly for us to take opportunities, but it gives us the opportunity to network with small business owners.
That's amazing. You've got you just shared the story of the business on the south side, but there's so many more north, west, south, in all directions. But tell us about the territory that your office covers.
It's a fun territory. So we cover all of Illinois and Northwest Indiana, and when you start talking about the stuff that we're doing in Illinois, and we go all the way to the Wisconsin border. We have Wisconsin begging for us to come into Wisconsin. We have the rest of Indiana begging us to go further, south in Indiana. But there's so much opportunity that we can take care of in Chicago. So we're really focused on the greater Chicagoland area because there's a lot of small business owners that need help. And we uniquely know their stories because they're our neighbors. They live in our communities. They're people who we'll run into at the grocery store, and that's what we're concerned about.
What I find really impressive is the team at Axion. I've met some of your colleagues. Hussein, it comes to mind, and you guys are out and about in the community, really doing outreach. You're a nonprofit, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys are really, you have a mission, and you seem to be very focused on that mission in trying to make access to capital an option for people that have an idea. Not everybody, I say this all the time, not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur, but those that want to be an entrepreneur, we better give them those opportunities, which is exciting. So tell us your story. How long have you been doing this?
Oh, wow. So the unique part of my story is I've been with Axion for 10 months. I was on the board for 8.5 years prior to joining the organization. I ran small business at a regional bank that left the Chicago market in June of last year, so Charter One. And in that capacity, I've always been focused on helping small businesses, but sometimes it's challenging from a bank's perspective because there are going to be several companies that fall outside of the box that you can't help, and some of them are, family businesses, lifestyle businesses where you're just doing it to make ends meet. But there are also a lot of high growth businesses that you run into, and people who want to take their opportunities and grow their business and do something that's generational and has some real impact on their communities. I want to serve both. So my mission has always been, how do I help the guy with the hot dog cart, and how do I help the guy with the 20 location restaurant? And that's where our unique partnership and my team's partnership comes in with over 3,000 small business owners in Chicago.
Well, good for you for making the leap from the board to being on the team at Axion Chicago. You guys are doing fantastic work. Once again, we're talking with Steve Hall, the Vice President of Business Development for Axion Chicago, doing some fantastic work. Axion Chicago is part of a larger network, correct? Where are the other regions that Axion is serving?
Sure. We have Axion San Diego, Axion New Mexico, and Axion East, which is in New York, Boston, Florida, and Atlanta. So we are excited to be a part of that network. Most of us cover multiple states, but that's where our regional offices are.
Well, that's great that you have the ability to refer to the other offices, the ability to access other talent, and that's really important. So we can talk all day, and this is a topic very, very near and dear to my heart and to many of our listeners. And clearly, you mentioned the mayor has gotten involved, and there's a lot of politically. I say this all the time, that small business and entrepreneurship is a bipartisan issue, and that's something that regardless of where you stand, everybody supports it. So support Axion Chicago. Get on their website. Steve, how can people get a hold of you and learn more about the work of your fantastic organization?
Sure. You can visit us at our website is AxionChicago.org, and that's ACCION Chicago.org. you'll have a direct opportunity to send me an email. My phone and my email address are on the website. All of my team is on there. So I have 15 lenders dedicated to helping small business owners like yourself. We're also committed to, doing some technical assistance. So sometimes a lot of small businesses need capacity planning, and we want to be there for them as well.
Good for you. Great work. We will be sure to have you back on the show. And thanks for all your involvement in the community and, of course, our events as well. And I know we'll be seeing you around real soon. But get in touch with Steve and his team at ACCION Chicago, AXIONChicago.org. Get Down to Business is brought to you in part by Everett Wealth Solutions, a registered investment advisor and financial planning firm, a fiduciary advisor that helps you create your personal wealth. You can find them at everettwealthsolutions.com or call 708-771-7777. After the break, we're going to check in with executive business coach and Vistage Chair Dick Smith. You're listening to Get Down to Business.